everyone. This is Zarina Dimitrova, host of the Grow and Learn podcast and of Heal and Learn. And I have a pretty awesome guest today for you. It's Michael A. Blunt, who is an energy mastery coach. Is that correct, Michael? Did I introduce you correctly or wrongly? Let's just make it upfront that you're not a Reiki healer.
Okay. Exactly. So yeah, energy mastery and mindset coach.
Yeah. So I met Michael at MBA school. It's quite an interesting development for both of us to be doing mindset and coaching and trainings and all kinds of personal development topics. It's interesting for me to know your story, how you developed, Mike, from your corporate career and how you settled into helping people actualize their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to be talking to you, by the way.
Yeah. Likewise, it's been a while, and
yes, it's been a while. Also.
Yeah. I'm like, were we kids? And I was like, yeah, I was definitely in my early 20s. So we were, or was it late? Yeah, no, I was in my late 20s. So we were definitely kids compared to where I am now. I'm 40 now. But yeah, those were some really fun times. I would recommend anyone who is, if you're going to go down that route and do an advanced degree, to go full time, because it's a really good time, and you meet wonderful people, like Zarina. So
likewise. So what happened in these years? Let's not mention how many, because otherwise people would know my age too.
Okay, I won't. Yeah. Well, yeah, she was in the undergrad, just starting as a freshman, and I was the grad student. So you know how that goes. But since then, obviously I, did what everybody else did. I went down I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
I didn't know if it's still loud. But I went down the corporate ladder, and I just thought that was going to be what I wanted to do in life. I started working in marketing and brand management, and I did that for a number of years. And, I just didn't think there was another outlet for me, because that was the only thing that I knew, was go to school, get a job, go to grad school, get a better job, and just continue doing that. And I quickly found out that, while I understood how to work in a corporate environment, that the corporate environment didn't know how to work with me, in my personality and my energy, and pretty much how I wanted to show up every day, and really what made me happy. So I started experiencing depression. And, that depression kind of led to anxiety, panic attacks, stress, and all the things that come along with not really feeling fulfilled and not really being, feeling happiness in your life, which eventually, took me down a very narrow path of, discontent, and even thinking about, certain bouts of suicide at certain points, of just, making good money, but really, really being unfulfilled and empty.
Your story resonates to a certain degree with me. I never was really in a depression, but I did feel extremely discontent with my job. Although I enjoyed it on a certain level, it wasn't fully fulfilling. And there are also other people that I've spoken to from the MBA school who claim the same thing. They also go through the same experiences that you've been to, but a few managed to jump out. So how did it happen for you? What happened?
Well, what wound up happening is I never saw the writing on the wall. I didn't know there were people like you and people like myself in the world. So I just kept trying to work hard and work harder. And eventually it led me into the emergency room, from having a panic attack and having a shortness of breath where I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so when I arrived at the emergency room, I asked a doctor and I said, "Hey, what's wrong with me? I've never experienced this before. I'm just out of sorts at this point." And, I was really looking for answers where I didn't have any at the moment. And the doctor actually said something that pointed me in a direction of where I am now, what she said, this is really emotional and stress related. And I never made that connection before because, I was an engineering mathematics background. I was thinking logically and analytically. And I was saying, well, listen, I have hives on my body. I'm gnawing my jaw and my teeth down at night. These are physical ailments that I'm seeing. How are my emotions connecting with what's going on with me physically? And the doctor responded that 95% of the physical ailments that are on your body currently right now are driven by your emotions.
Yeah.
And that was just a aha moment for me, sitting in the hospital bed. And I can do 1 + 1 = 2. I'm a very logical person. So I'm like, okay, well, that is true. If I accept this as true, this completely destroys my entire belief system around how health and wellness works. And if I want to feel better, then I need to start connecting and going to the provenance and the root cause of what's actually creating this kind of sad reality at this point, feeling like I was successful out in the public, but internally feeling like a complete failure. So that's when I just really shifted and redirected my energy, and I started focusing on, my emotions and being more heart-centered and, how I wanted to feel every day. And, next thing you know, I'm in the conference room with my then manager. And I don't think she's too pleased with me at this point because I'm just like thinking all of these emotions. I'm saying these weird things. I'm having what you would consider a spiritual awakening. And the spiritual awakening in a corporate office is that's oil and water. So so she's like, listen, what do you want? Basically, AKA, how can we get you out of here? Because
Right.
you're weird. You're weird now. And I responded the most honest that I've ever responded in my life. And I said, I just want to be happy. I quit. So I just want to be happy. I quit. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I have no backup plan. But she's like, okay, great. So we were both relieved for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great. So I just happened to quit right at the same time where bonuses were coming out. So I got my bonus, I got my severance, and I was out of there. So that's how it all changed for me.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Good story. Good story. I enjoyed it. You made a person happy as well.
Yeah, everybody was happy. I made her
Yeah.
happy. I made my inner child happy. So
Yeah.
everybody was happy.
And then what happened? Were you already in the process of like searching for outside help, going to trainings, personal development, or did you just start after you quit?
I funny story about that. So I forgot a part. Well, I didn't forget it. I just didn't really go into it, but that was happening at work. On the personal side, I was also going through a breakup, like a heartbreak. So
Yeah.
I was going through a breakup. I was essentially getting pushed out of work, and all those things happening at the same time. And I'm in a hospital bed and not really able to explain it, nor understand it. So I've hit my emotional rock bottom at this point. And it's around the time of the end of the year 2015 and beginning of the year 2016. Super Bowl happens, and we go to a friend's house, and I'm just wide open with emotions at this point, just like broken, heartbroken, scared, all the emotions that you can feel. I meet this woman who's there. It's a friend's girlfriend at the time. And she just sees me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, can you help me?" Like, just this is the desperation I had. Like, no, anybody,
Oh my
can you help
God.
me? Just for asking me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, can you help me?"
Yes.
And so I tell her my story, and she's like, "Listen, this is when I was in New York. I want you to go to this place called Namaste Bookstore, which was like a few blocks down. in not the meatpacking district, but it was on the west side. And she was like, I want you to go 4 blocks down, go to this place called Namaste Bookstore. I want you to buy a rose quartz crystal and put it over your heart for 2 weeks. And I want you to meditate on that. And listen, I was a corporate guy, MBA, prior life engineer. I didn't know what she said. So you want me to put translation, you want me to put a rock on my chest, and you want me to just sit there and woosah whatever those weird hippie people do for 2 weeks. And you said that's going to work. And she said, yes. And I said, okay, I'm going to go do it. So I go do it. I buy this rock, and she's like, it's a crystal. I'm like, whatever. So I go buy this rock, and I was like, I need the pink rock. And they were like, a rose quartz crystal. I was like, if that's what it's called, give it to me. And so they give me this rose quartz crystal. I go home, I look on YouTube how to meditate for dummies. And I just sit there, put the rose quartz over my heart, and I just sit in silence. And the most interesting thing happened after that. I just started crying. I think I had never put myself in a position where I had actually slowed down enough to hear what my body really wanted. And I just had never stopped. I had never paused, stopped, and listened to what is that inner voice actually saying. And I just sat there, and the inner voice was just telling me to be still and just love yourself again. Just be still and listen to yourself. Be still and just do nothing. And that's exactly what I did for the next 2 weeks. And I mean, it was like a soap opera. I was just crying every single day. And I was just purging, releasing. And I just felt so much lighter after that. And that practice of, YouTube meditation sent me into a new sense of mastery in where I am today. I just kept meditating. It got addicting. I got addicted to something else rather than success, validation, and achievement. I got addicted to self-discovery and feeling good. And that addiction led me to wanting to feel more of that and wanting to find more methods that will bring those good feelings. And that was all through the power of meditation for me. So, that's what happened after that.
Okay, cool. And so fast forward, you're already running a successful company. It's called the C3 method. No, the method you're teaching is the C3 method. The company is also the c3method.com, where you're teaching successful people to be even more successful.
Yes. So
how did you come up with, tell us about the method. What is it? And what do you do? How do you help people?
Yeah, well, first it started off as a corporate wellness business. Because I, when I had my awakening or my realization that I was more than what I was actually doing, should I say, then I said, oh, well, I can help corporate America, because I was so stressed out and depressed in corporate America that I can go back and I could save corporate America by adding wellness solutions to the companies that I had worked with before. Yeah. And, that was very rewarding for me. It was very hard, but very rewarding. Corporate America is it's a beast that, it's a beast that it takes a long time to slay. And so I had very ambitious dreams, but it set me on a path to understanding what my true skill sets were, what my spiritual gifts were, who I was, who I wasn't, and the fact that I could actually be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that. I thought I was supposed to spend the rest of my life in corporate America because that's all I knew. All I knew was to go to school and go to grad school and be successful. That's all I knew. I had no clue that I could start my own business and make more money than I was making before, and also be fulfilled, and also have time, freedom, and peace of mind. I just didn't know all those things existed. It was such a limiting belief that I was operating under. So when, I was doing corporate wellness for about the first 3 years, where I started the C3 method, which was at first, choices, chances, changes. You got to make a choice to take a chance in order to experience the change. It was a 3-step process of transformation. And I wanted to implement that framework in corporations. Well, that was all fine and dandy until COVID hit. Because I was physically going into these corporations and, giving workshops, meditation, massage therapy, all the things. COVID happens, and it's now a non-starter to have any physical contact. Now I have to figure out a different way to reach the audience and also express my purpose. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I went to meditation again, and I said, I need help. What direction should I go in? Because right now, what I'm thinking consciously isn't working, and that's when I discovered subconscious. When I discovered the subconscious, it was a whole different ballgame. I didn't realize that your subconscious is 95% of your reality. Like if you look at 24 hours in a day, 95% of the hours that you spend are basically in your subconscious mind. The other 5 are your conscious. So if I could download or access the subconscious mind, that means I have complete control over my reality and also my physical body, my mindset, everything. And that gave me a different sense of confidence and empowerment. And I was like, hey, listen, let me stop hiding behind the screen and giving a platform for other people to express their gifts. And why don't I just speak directly B2C to consumers and start coaching them, which was what I was naturally doing in the first place. I just wasn't getting paid for it. I had a bunch of friends and family asking me for advice, looking for direction. And I was doing that. And I was like, hey, I could just get paid doing this. I could just do this from now on. And then that's when I opened up Energy Mastery School. And within Energy Mastery School, I basically created a platform for advanced humans, which would be basically mutants if you were looking at the X-Men. And I wanted all the weird people to come to me. I'll be your Professor X, and I could help them move from point A to point B, or to elevate from, their next level. And this is spiritual teachers, this is entrepreneurs, this is, people who are already in the business industry who are looking to really elevate and get to their next phase or the next level of success. And that's what I started doing. I created Energy Mastery School. Master your energy, you master your life. You get control of your energy, you have control of your reality in your life. And I started doing energy mastery coaching, and that's what I'm currently doing today.
So the 3C method, does this involve, I have 3 words here that I've written down, which is deprogram, reprogram, create. And you mentioned that you started working with subconsciousness after COVID hit. So is this the time when you came up with this strategy of how to coach people, deprogram, reprogram, and create, or was this before?
Yeah, so the C3 method, ironically, has always ubiquitously been there. At first it was choices, chances, changes when I was working with corporations. And then when I started working directly with people and basically breaking down my limiting beliefs that, people want to speak to me, and getting past some of my shyness and started stepping into my confidence, that C3 method actually turned into Change 3, the Change 3 method. And it's like, well, okay, well, what does a Change 3 method mean? And it's like, okay, well, my life path number is 9. Life path is just, basically what you're supposed to encounter and how you encounter it. And the different things are going to pop up in your life based on your numerological number. Yeah. If you're looking at numerology. And so 9 has always been my number, or 33. Whenever I played sports, it was always 3, 33, 9, derivatives of that. So I started really studying the number 3. And the interesting thing about 3 is the most basic, the most concise, and the shortest number that it takes to create consciousness. The Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, red light, green light, yellow light, the woman, or the masculine, the feminine, and then creation. It's
just to add here something that I think I saw it yesterday. in a video, and it was again about the interpretation, another interpretation of the Trinity, which is supposedly on a deep subconscious level, it is the thought, emotions, and creation, because thought impregnates the emotion, it colors it, and then this gives birth to manifestation, to the creation.
Exactly, and that's actually what I teach. It's all about, it's all about that creation of consciousness and manifestation, and how do we get to it? And the quickest way to do that is in 3 steps. Even in marketing and advertising, you'll always see them going in pairs or groups of 3s in order to really reside in and for people to regurgitate the information or the marketing ethos that are being presented and programmed to the masses. It's in 3. So in knowing that, I was like, oh, well, there's 3 different stages to transformation. There's deprogramming, which is all about releasing your limiting beliefs. When I say, when I think about deprogramming, I'll give you an example. I used to operate that money was the root of all evil, and money didn't grow in trees, and it was hard to come by. Well, that eventually became my reality. And albeit I was making money, it was hard to come by, it didn't grow in trees, and now I have a money tree, and money comes to me very easily. And I have a different relationship with money, but my relationship with money before I started deprogramming was very strained, and it was very unhealthy, and that manifested in my life. So I had to deprogram. And when you think about deprogramming, think about a cult. And when you get out of that cult, you have to deprogram and, unravel all of those programs that you've been conditioned and learned over the years in order to become normal again and get your humanity back. So you're essentially deprogramming from the conditioning and the brainwashing and the manipulation that's been happening to you and that you've been doing to yourself all of these years. So before you even go to manifestation, before you even go to, Reiki and psychic and crystals and silver metal, like all these things, you need to start with what are your belief systems that have been creating this reality, and you need to release those. So that's the first step in the change 3 method, the C3 method, which is deprogramming. Second step will be reprogramming. And reprogramming, think about it like a kid. I'll give you an example of like a child that's learning, or, I would say for you, when you think of some of your best teachers or some of the best subjects that you learn, how did you feel?
Excited. Enthusiastic, yeah.
Yes. So in order for you to create, to regurgitate, to really have something seep into your subconscious, for it to be impactful in any type of way, you need to be excited. And that's what the reprogramming is. It's a renewal. It's release, renew. I want you to get to your highest level so you can be childlike and excited again. And once you get to that level of excited, we've reprogrammed your energy and elevated your energy enough. Now we can move into the last and final step, the 3rd step, which is manifestation. Because what we don't want you to do is we don't want you to create and manifest on the 3rd floor. We don't even want you to create and manifest on the 10th floor, because you can only see certain things. From the 3rd floor to the 10th floor, let's say in a building, and you have an amazing view. You're like, oh, I have a 3rd floor view. It's an amazing view. You see the pedestrians outside, you see a couple of dogs, and they say, okay, listen, we're going to upgrade you to the 10th floor. You get to the 10th floor, you see the dogs and you see, a couple of squirrels, but now you see the city view. You're like, oh yeah, this is pretty nice. I can see the park that's a few blocks down. I say, okay, you know what? Now I'm going to reprogram you, and we're going to elevate you to the 100th floor. And you're like, oh crap, this is crazy. So now, instead of just only seeing a brief city view in the park, you can see districts, and you can see way out into the ocean, and you can see so much more. And you want to manifest and create your life with as much clarity, which is with as much vision, with as much insight, and with nothing holding you back and nothing blocking you as possible. So that is what this transformation process is, of creating reality on your own terms. It's all about. It's deprogramming, which is releasing. It's reprogramming, which is renewal, and it's recreating, which is manifestation. Deprogram, reprogram, manifestation. and rinse, repeat once you finish that. Rinse, repeat for every limiting belief, for everything that you want in life, rinse, repeat that. That's what the C3 method is. It's a change 3 methodology.
Awesome. I also teach a similar method that is based on a Russian energy information system, but it also starts with cutting out in a certain way limiting beliefs. How do you do that with people? Do you use meditation? Do you use somebody's, or is it your own method that you've created based on what? Just curious.
Yeah, so it's my own method that I've kind of put together, and there's been a lot of different teachings and derivatives of this as well. So there's nothing new under the sun. I'm not teaching anything that no one else knows or no one else can do. These are all things that have already been taught, that we're just recreating that in our own uniqueness. So the technique that I use is something called TFA. And the technique that I use to implement the C3 method in subconscious reprogramming is understanding the premise of that your personality is built from your thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's built from what you're thinking, from how you're feeling, and from the habits and behaviors that you're committed to. And so if you change any of those variables, it changes your personality. Well, if you change your personality, you're looking out of a different door and you're looking out of a different window now. And that different door and that different window is going to beget a different reality. So if I change my thoughts, feelings, and actions, I get a completely different reality, and so on and so forth. So focusing, first identifying, well, what needs a tune-up? Is it your thoughts? Is it your feelings? Or is it your actions? Or is it all three? And then being able to tweak those and really focusing on the details of which one is holding you back and which one isn't, and really releasing some of the limiting beliefs based on that, you can start to change and reprogram anything. Because the conversation that we have right now is at a certain TFA. Let's say it's at a 10 TFA. And
what does TFA stand for? TFA? What is
thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Okay, sorry.
And so, let's say that your reality is, if we just gave it a personal signature at 10, this is you're creating podcasts, you have, your beautiful 5-year-old, right? Yeah, your beautiful 5-year-old. You got the amazing purple moon crystal behind you. You're doing,
it's a 3D printed moon. It's
there
plastic.
It is. Okay, it looks beautiful to me. So your perception is your reality. So you got heal and learn. I mean, you're going, and that's based on a particular personality, a particular self-image. Now you might decide one day, like, okay, enough with this self-image. I want to elevate to my next level, whatever that looks like, whatever success looks like for you. And in order to do that, you're going to need to be a completely different person. You're going to have to overcome the habits of being this person who you are right now. And in order to do that, you've got to change your thoughts. You got to upgrade your feelings, and you got to change some of your actions and behaviors. Now, the reason why is because, different realities operate at a different level of frequency. So whatever you want is at a certain level of frequency. So whatever you want at this moment right now, you're getting. But if you want to elevate your frequency, or you want to elevate your reality, you need to basically, like a radio station, tune into that level of frequency and that energy. Well, if you're going to tune into that level of frequency and energy, it's going to require tune-up, and it's going to require some changes. And the best way that we can do that is to logically say, okay, well, how do I step into that frequency? Well, what thoughts do a person at that next level need to have? What feelings and emotions does a person at that next level needs to have, and what behaviors and actions do they conduct? If I'm making 6 figures right now and I want to become a multimillionaire, well, okay, I got to change some things. I'm going to start smelling different. I'm going to start acting different. I might even, my tone might start changing. I'm going to start hanging out with different people. I'm going to start wearing different things. I'm going to start living in different places. That's a different thought process. And those are different emotions, and those are different actions that are going to get me there. So you change your personality, you change your personal reality. And that's some of the more detailed, nuanced technique that I use in order to get you to the place of total transformation within the C3 method.
Beautiful. And So I'm curious, can you maybe share an example of somebody that you've worked with and what the changes that they went through, how long it took? You don't need to go into details, just, for visualization purposes so that people can imagine what actually you're achieving or what you're helping people achieve.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, most people, what they come to me about is either money or relationships, but, mainly, hey, I want to make more money, or, I want complete and total, you know, freedom or fulfillment. Or women saying, hey, I want to have it all, but I'm not able to have it all. So there's like these blockages and these limiting beliefs. So, a person, one of my clients has come to me, and her whole thing was about, listen, I'm making 7 figures. She's a lawyer and she owns her own law practice and is very successful. She said, I don't have time for a relationship. I don't have time to, kind of do this. I want it, but I'm a single parent and I don't have time to really commit to something outside of, and I'm scared that it's going to take away time and resources from my kids. Like, that's not how I feel guilty that I'm going to be a bad mother. And so we had to start with that. We said, okay, cool. Like, I needed to understand what her belief systems were, and her belief systems were mainly around perfectionism, and being a stickler to how things should be. And that perfectionism was, really getting to her because she had a failed marriage. And she was like, I was the perfect wife. I did everything. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And that didn't turn, I took a risk. He was also a different religion. My parents didn't want that to happen. I took the risk. I did it. I got ostracized and then it failed. And now I look like an idiot. I never want to take that risk again. So, okay, here we go. Now I understand what you were essentially saying with, perfectionism and not wanting to take that risk was I'm scared to show mistakes. And if I'm scared to show mistakes and really be out there, that means that I'm scared to show, or I'm scared of acceptance. I want validation. I just want to be accepted because I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm worthy to really put myself out there again or to have true love. I tried it. It didn't work out for me. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough. That's your limiting belief. I'm not good enough. Okay. So that's how you've been making all your decisions. So you've been playing it safe. So you're really like, okay, I need to cross my T's and dot my I's. And now you've been stuck because you've been so busy crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure everything is perfect that you haven't had time to focus on your future because you've been so focused on your past. So, okay, now let's deprogram that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, what other decisions have you been making based on I'm not good enough? Well, I don't want to take chances on my business, but also I'm not good enough for love. Okay. So you're not good enough for love. So what do you think is going to come from that? Well, I'm definitely not going to find a partner if I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm good enough to be loved on, to give love and to all these things. And it's also impacting my relationship with my kids, where I don't feel like I'm a good enough parent. I don't feel like I'm a good enough daughter anymore. And it's just, the list went on once she discovered what her limiting beliefs were that were actually creating her reality. And then she understood, oh, it's not them. It's not even my time. It's me. I'm creating a reality where I don't have time. I'm creating a reality where I can't receive love because I don't feel like I'm good enough. You get to the root that takes care of all the symptoms. So once we did that, now all of a sudden she has time. She got her time back. Now she's filling herself. Now this is the fun part. We get into the reprogramming. The reprogramming, what do we talk about the reprogramming? That's all about excitement. Let's reprogram. Let's get to the 100th floor. So it's like, okay, yeah, you're definitely not going to attract love or anything like that. Just being a homebody and not really speaking to anybody. Let's get yourself out there. Let's start acting the part. Let's start thinking the part. Let's start feeling the part. Let's start tuning into that different frequency that would actually attract that person. That there's a woman right now who is walking the walk, talking the talk, thinking the thinking, feeling the feeling, acting the way, and she has a successful law firm as well as this doting, partner that's supporting her and that's very supportive of her children. There's a woman, there is another version of you that's doing that right now. So what is she wearing? Okay, well, yeah, she's wearing this, and okay, I guess I could buy that purse. Yeah, I could fit heels again, and instead of wearing these slippers. My kids are a little bit older, so I don't have to carry everyone. Yeah, I guess I can go back to heels again. Oh, makeup. Oh, I got to put on. Okay, yeah, I guess she's wearing makeup. I guess she got her nails done, and she went to the spa, and it's so that's the reprogramming. Now she's starting to align with the energy of that woman. Now, okay, now since you feel good, you smell good, you've got your heels on, you got your, makeup or no makeup, whatever makes you feel great. What type of person, what type of partner deserves you? What type of how are you acting? Well, he needs to look good and smell good. Yeah, exactly. Because now you're doing that. Well, he needs to make this much. Well, okay, yeah, because now you're doing that. So now you're able to attract who you are. And then that's when she was able to really be in the receivership of her now husband of 10 years. I mean, sorry, not of 10 years, of 1 year. Because I've only been working with her for 2 years, so of 1 year. So, and it's actually somebody who she's known for 10 years. She just didn't know that he wasn't even on her radar because he was operating at that frequency. She didn't even see him because it was at a different level of energy, different frequency. She didn't appreciate that type of partner because she didn't see that within herself. So when she started seeing herself, she then was able to see him. And that's a really good example of, how she implemented the C3 method in order to manifest exactly what she wanted.
Yeah. Do you see some people retracting back to their previous ways of thinking, to their previous vibrations, or do you feel that they're able to embody it for a longer period of time, or to just embody it completely, whatever they've set their minds to achieve?
I think it's like with anybody. It's like asking me, if me as a personal trainer, if I worked with 10 people and I got them to a certain body fat, a certain weight, and they were able to, and a certain level of endurance, how many of them are going to continue that after, after we finish our sessions? And it's going to vary. Some people are going to continue that, some people are not, but it really depends on the people.
Exactly. It doesn't depend on the trainer. I'm just asking based on your observation on average. Yeah.
But so hear me out. Once I started noticing that and seeing that there was, like some people who continued on, some people who, I guess you would say nobody went back to where they were. You can't become conscious and then become unconscious again.
Right.
That's over. It's up. It's done. Yeah. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So to answer your question more directly, no one has gone back to where they were. Now, were they at the level of where they were when they stopped? Not everybody. So what I did was I created Advanced Mastery. Advanced Energy Mastery was a continuation after you learn the foundation. And this was all about the integration of everything that you learn. It's like you learned everything in a sprint because this is a 3-month process.
Yeah.
And once you finish it, you're like, oh man, that's a lot of information. Okay, yeah, we're really doing it. Now, what's next? Well, what's next is let's continue working together so you can integrate all of the things that you learn into a long permanent lifestyle.
Yeah.
And once you're able to integrate that into a lifestyle rather than just learning it on an academic or an applicable level, now it becomes seamless. Now it becomes who you are rather than who you're trying to be. And what I've seen with those students that continue on to Advanced Mastery of integrating the work that they learned from Energy Mastery, it's 100% kill rate. Those people are doing the work. Those people are putting in the time. So of course they're going to see the efforts. And I would say pretty much 100% of those people are continuing to see those results and getting what they want.
Okay. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you very much for going in depth to the whole process. It's very enlightening to me as well. And I'm also comparing to what I'm doing and to the results people are achieving. So it's also useful to exchange information on this level. But the reason I actually contacted you in the first place, of course, we're friends on Facebook and here and there, and I've been following you and your posts. But there was one particular post in December that caught my attention. It was something about the responsibility to speak up when you know something. So we don't need to go, of course, in details of what the post was about, but what is now with the expanded awareness that you know you have, and for people similar to you, what do you think your responsibility as a person of knowledge is? Because that's the person of real knowledge. It's not the person of knowledge acquired at a university, but of universal knowledge. So what is the response? So
I think what you're referring to is the law or natural law.
Natural law, exactly.
Yeah, there's several universal principles of the universe, and one of them is called natural law.
Yes.
And it's the objective universal law stating that all beings are sovereign, free, and liberated from a higher rule. And in that, being sovereign and free is your responsibility not only to take on that sovereignty for yourself, but also to share that with others. So if you see it, you must say something. And that's why a lot, and from there, I won't get into detail, but, I use that natural law to start expressing how there are other groups who know about these universal laws, who use them to manipulate into, I guess you could say, darker matters. And with doing that, they'll present something in plain sight. And it might be something that's a little uncomfortable, or it might be something that's horrendous, but they'll present what they're doing in plain sight. Now, you're exempt, the thought process is, well, if I tell you that cigarettes are going to kill you and you still smoke the cigarettes, well, it's no longer my fault if I'm creating it. If I tell you what I'm doing and you still continue to opt in and accept that, then I'm no longer...
You're coming out of your free will. Yes.
Yeah. I'm no longer karmically responsible for that, so, that's how that's used in, I guess you would say, a more manipulative way. And I actually don't consider it a bad move. I was like, oh, well done. It's pretty smart. It's just how you want to use the natural law to your advantage. Now, the way I use natural law to my advantage is I see those things. So if I see it and I'm like, well, they're showing me what they're doing. They have a big sign that says smoking kills. It's not a secret. So I'm going to tell people, hey, smoking kills. This is what you're doing. If you want to continue doing that, that's up to you. But, it's a choice at that point. So to answer your question more directly, I've used that law to share what I've learned as soon as I learn it. If I learn something about personal development or transformation or energy or, emotional healing or forgiveness or just whatever it might be, elevating to the next level, flying to Mars. If I'm learning that, then it's my responsibility to share that and to tell people in some type of way. I don't need to be on the front lines as an activist saying, okay, yeah, you need to do this and this and that. We need to bust down the systems. Everybody has their role. I'm not that guy. I am the person who's a ninja, who's going to tell you, I'm going to change you from the inside out. And so I'm going to speak to you in a way where you can make the choice if you want to bust down that system or if you want to, or if you want to keep it intact. But I'm not going to be in the front lines, fighting that war, because everyone has a role, and I realize what my role is and what gives me energy. So I hope that answered your question about like how
absolutely.
I use natural law. Okay.
It answered it in a very satisfactory way. So.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
I love the ninja concept. I love the ninja concept. I'm also working in similar stealth mode.
Okay.
Ninja, yeah.
Very good.
All right. I, by the way, have a video. If anybody's interested, you can check it out. It's called priming and mind programming. So I go into details of how it is done, and for anybody interested, it's on Heal and Learn, a YouTube channel. All right, Mike, I think this was a lovely conversation, and we might as well wrap it up here, not to spoil it, because it was just beautiful and perfect.
Okay.
Not that we could spoil it, not that we could, but you know, it's I think we gave enough information for now. Anything else you would like to add?
Maybe how people can contact me if they want to know more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say you know, you can contact me at michaelalblunt.com. You know, it's through my website, Instagram, TikTok, even my Gmail. So it's michaelalblunt.com, or Michael A. Blunt is my handle. And that's how you can reach out to me. And you know, you were absolutely correct. I only work with industry leaders or people who have a success mindset and making them more successful. And there are a variety of reasons for that, but that's my niche. That's what lights me up. So if that's you, and if that's what you're interested in, is, you know, you're already successful and going to your next level, then hit me up, shoot me a DM, or book a free consultation. I'm doing not only one-on-one or group coaching, but also have an online course that you can take called 21 Days to Energy Mastery. So for 30 minutes a day for 21 days, you can learn this framework, and you can get, you know, the things that you need in order to make your life better and more beautiful. So I think that's all I have to say, but I really enjoyed, you know, speaking with you and reconnecting from our old time, you in undergrad and me in business school. You know, the young girl that you were at that time, and me just being this old man who was preying on the kids. You were 18, so it was fine. You were 18,
right.
19, so it was fine.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank you for stopping and talking to this old 21-year-old man.
Oh, I enjoyed it so much, Mike. Thank you. I'll put the links below to all of your social media and website. The other website is the C3 method.
No, actually, that's an old website.
Okay.
Yeah, but my website that I'm currently running is michaelalblunt.com.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.